Today we're going to start our next unit in science, and our next unit in science is all going to be about weather changes. You guys have a little bit of history with weather?
Yes.
So I want to get some background knowledge from you. What do you guys already know about weather and weather changes and weather patterns? Kind of give me a quick shot. We'll do a quick share of things we know. Joey.
That there's 4 seasons.
That there are 4 seasons. That's a great piece of it, right?
What page? There's always when it's thunder, when it's lightning, there's always thunder.
Lightning and thunder go hand in hand. Good. Yes.
There's a number of what the weather's gonna be like.
Good. There's that number. What do we call that number for what the weather's like? It's our
Temperature.
It's our temperature. So the lower the number, the colder it is. The higher the number, the
hotter
it is. Fabulous. And it helps us gauge what the weather's going to be like that day. Jason.
When it's hot and cold and it's really windy, and there's a hot and cold cloud in the air, it can form a tornado.
Fabulous. When it's hot and cold and really windy, and we have those hot and cold forces mixing together, it could cause a tornado. Great one. Haley.
That either a thunderstorm and a rainstorm is different.
Thunderstorm and rainstorms are different. Grayson.
It can change at any moment.
I love that piece. Weather can change at any given moment. That's a great one. Chloe.
There's different types of weather.
Different types of weather. Great. Kyler.
It can be dangerous and it can be safe.
It can be dangerous. There's some pretty safe, mild weather as well. There's also very dangerous weather patterns. Yes.
It's kind of what they're saying, but you can't just say right and then it right. You can't do that.
Nope, you can't just tell it to do something or it doesn't just do it. It's changing always, right? Good. Kaylin. Different seasons. And what was that last piece?
If it's like summer, it would be hot, and if it's winter,
That is within those seasons. Summer's hot, winter's colder, and we have that different weather patterns during that time. Yes.
Like different places have different weather. Like California has hot weather, and Antarctica has cold weather.
That's a great one. Different places have different weather, and we're going to talk a little bit about why that is in this unit. Different places have different weather. California might be hot, Antarctica is cold. So different places, different weather. Great. Yes.
that when water molecules and clouds hit each other, they create static electricity and cause lightning.
When water molecules and those static, they create static electricity, create lightning. And Lexi, one last thing we know about weather.
That sometimes different places can be like sometimes it can be hot in one place and it can be cold in the same exact time.
Good. It can be hot in one place and cold in the same time somewhere else. Good. Go ahead and turn your notebooks to page 90. What page are we going to?
90.
Go third away immediately. On page 90, we have our Page Keeley probe to kind of introduce our lesson today. We are going to be learning about weather. We are going to be talking about weather patterns. We're going to talk about why weather happens in different places and how it happens in different places. Today, we are going to be using, this is our, like I said, our Page Keeley probe. And it talks about weather changes. Our question today that we're looking at, everybody read it with me, says, let's just read our question at the top. What
happened to the puddle?
Fabulous. What happened to the puddle? So we have this fabulous puddle here in our picture. And now I'm going to give you the scenario of it happened, and I want you to think about who you agree with and why. So 4 friends are walking to school. They notice a big puddle on the sidewalk. An hour later, the puddle is gone. They wondered where the water in the puddle went. This is what they said. Henry said, "It just dried up and does not exist anymore." Sophia says, "It went up in the sky and is now part of a cloud." Peyton says, "It went into the air around us." And Micah says it went into a river or lake. So what happened to that puddle? Who do you agree with? I want you to take a moment to write your answer first. Who do you agree with? Henry, Sophia, Peyton, and Micah. And then down below on that same page, I want you to write why. Why do you agree with them? What makes you agree with that person? I'm going to give you a few moments to write your response on page 90. After having a moment to write your response, I want to just kind of gauge where you guys are at with your thinking right now. So if you agree with Henry, please stand up. If you wrote down Henry's name, stand up. Fabulous. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They got right. 8 people in our room agree with Henry. So, Grayson, give us your reasoning. Why do you agree with Henry today?
Because if it sits there for a while, it will dry up.
If it sits there for a while, it dries up. So Henry, again, just to say, he dried up and does not exist anymore. So if it's just sitting there for a while, Grayson says it's just going to dry up. Viola, what's your thinking behind it?
I said, if there's water on the surface, eventually it will absorb or dry up.
Okay, eventually she said the water's just going to absorb or dry up if it's just sitting there. Okay. And Zoe, let's hear from you.
I agree with Grayson.
With Grayson that it's just going to, not be there. Fabulous. Good explanations. We don't have time for everybody to share, but friends that agree with Henry, great job explaining, great job writing your answers today. People who agree with Sophia, stand up. In our classroom, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So more people agree with Sophia. That it went into the sky and it's now part of a cloud. Haley, why do you agree with Sophia? What did you write down today?
I agree with Sophia because rain comes from clouds, and that's how we make rain, so that's where it must go.
Perfect. She says rain comes from clouds, so that must be where that water is going. Great. Okay. Kaylin.
I said, if rain comes, when it's done, the water, like, it goes back.
Okay, so after rain comes, when it's done, that water's going to head back up into the clouds. And Charlie, what's your thinking?
I agree with Haley that rain comes from the clouds.
Okay, fabulous. Agreeing with Haley that rain is coming from clouds, so it's probably where it's headed back to. Great, thank you. If you agree with Peyton today, stand up. That is more people than I remember walking around, but it's not a problem. These people agree with Peyton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people agree with Peyton today. Kason, what's your reasoning?
I agree with Peyton because the sun dries it out and it turns into air by evaporating.
Perfect. Says the sun dries it out, it turns into the air through evaporation. Good, by evaporating. Great. Ray, what's your thinking?
I did something with Peyton, but not.
Okay, she said basically the same thing, maybe just not phrased exactly the same way. Cooper, what's your thinking?
Because the water has moisture, so when it dries up, it's like wet air.
Okay, it has moisture, so it dries up wet air. Aiden, what's your thinking?
I agree with Sophie. I don't know what the second
We're on Peyton right now.
one is. The second one down is.
Sophia, but we've moved past Sophia.
Yeah,
We're on
and
Peyton right now.
I agree with that one and Peyton because
Okay.
technically it would absorb to the air and then go straight up into the clouds.
Okay. So he's agreeing with Peyton and Sophia because it's going to absorb into the air and then go into the clouds. One thing I will point out, Aiden, is how much time has passed. So if you think about what would happen within that hour time span. Great. And anybody agree with Micah today? Nobody agrees with Micah that it went to a lake and a river?
No.
That's what most of my class said last year.
What?
So that tells me your brains have learned and moved on from that thought that water just goes straight to water, which is awesome. Great job with this today. We're going to take a few moments to look at some different pictures or examples of weather patterns.